Hello again. It's been a really long time. I've been very distracted and not picking this up. So over here we have Mike's grave and the Care NLM back over here leads to the tool room and Quitter's room. But over through this door, this is where you come through to get through. To the child library, and the child library has a really cool feature of having a selection panel and then various rooms. And to help make it not huge, I'm trying to figure something out with applied energistics with the spatial IO ports, because you can store different configurations like this. You can store different configurations in here of blocks onto a little card. And I have none in here, so oops. We get our card. You can store one in here, and then it'll go through, whoop, create it, take it all down, and then you can make a different thing in here and switch between them. So it's back in here, and it has our first configuration, and now here's our second configuration. So you can switch between. This has a little feedback loop. It sends it up to a storage buffer chest, and then it comes down into here. The issue quickly becomes keeping track of, because right now what's happening is this card is, it's cutting all of the world here into a buffer space, into a buffer, and then it pastes anything that's on the card. Card moves over here, and in the process of moving over, it takes what was in the buffer and then stores it onto the card. So this right now, if I just pause the connection there, it then just copies and pastes one to the other. And what the other thing does here, what the pipes on the side here, your smart cables do, is it just feeds it back into a chest so that it can cycle around. We're going to do a 16 size room so that you have a good chunk of space to work with and decorate, but it's not huge and massive. Because it doesn't have to be a cube, I've tiled up a couple different things to help build prototypes. But then this is my attempt at sorting out the actual storage versus going back into the thing. So our very first step is we want to save whatever's in the room so that it doesn't get deleted and go to the wrong thing. So up here we have three different really small ones. Our cube 0 is the stone, cube 1 is the lamp, and cube 2 is our storage, is our energy cell. So what happens here, make sure this is set to the right priority, is this is going to go through, it's going to store whatever in here, save it to the current card, because there's nothing in here, it's not going to worry about it. It then has another system that loops back over, puts the item in the dispenser or a dropper to come back over to the IO port at the second pulse. So it gives one pulse to store, one pulse to insert the new card. Now new card's back in here. And then on the third pulse it will store, and then it gets sent back over to the dropper. Before second pulse it comes back over here. So right now we've got U stored with stone. If we put in this, it now has a lamp, and then we can do the same thing again in the IO port, and now it's back in the dropper. Or we can do this with that guy. Now it's in dropper, or now it's in dropper, now it's in the IO port, and now we make it appear. The trick becomes when you want to switch between your three cards. So we have our stone for 0, lamp for 1, and energy cell here for number 3, or number 2. So if we put number 2 here, and we save it, now it goes back over to the dispenser. We put 0 there. What happens when I create this is it makes it, But then number 0 that should have it, that should be the stone, because 0 is stone, is in the dispenser or dropper. And it's about to switch the order of number 2 and number 0. So right now 0 is empty. If we actually break this and take out 2, so 2 should be our energy cell. If we try and do that, nothing's going to happen because 0 is empty. There's nothing stored in card 0. In our card 2, let's put our... In our card 2, we actually have the stone block right now. So there needs to be a way to, from the IO port, actually say, hey, number 0, you're supposed to be the stone block. Number 2, you're supposed to be the dense energy cell. Because with just one, you can swap back and forth just fine. You can, yeah. You can swap back and forth. We'll put this guy there so you can see. With just one thing, you can swap back and forth, no problem. But as soon as you start trying to incorporate multiple things, it gets trickier. 2 energy cell. What this is an attempt at trying to mess with the priority systems of AE2 to have our main, what over here would be our like stack of like 16 or whatever different rooms you want in the child library, and then they'd get item filtered out and sorted through there. But with the priority system, I need to look more into how it works, because even with this at -1, so it should be inserted second, since insertion gets highest priority first. Yeah, -1. And this is at 0 now. This will always insert into the dropper first. However, if I set this also to -1, I thought that it was whatever was closest to the thing goes first. Since this is further away in blocks, this would go second. This is closer, it goes first. That's not how it works. I don't know if it's directional, I don't know if it's locational, or just a funny thing, but every time we trigger it now, 100% of the time, it will not go to the dropper. So our card is now over here in our chest. And it's over here in our chest. And it's over here in our chest, even with both of these being set at the same -1 priority. So I'm not sure how to do that, because you need 2 pulses, because your first step is store the room, store whatever is in there. Your second step is going to be removing the old card. So that's 1 pulse for store the room, and then you don't need a pulse for removing. And then your third step is insert new card, which needs a pulse for the dropper, because we're using a dropper to help save space on this. We might switch to just a hopper or even an import bus with a redstone card so we can attach it that way or something. I don't know. I'm been working on this for a while. Fourth step, after we insert a new card, is you have to create the new room. And then fifth step is reinsert that same new card, so that we keep the card to room correctly saved. Otherwise, even though 0 is supposed to be the stone, if we insert a different card first, number 1 is now stone, and if we insert then this one, these two have now swapped. So 0, 1 now has our stone, and 0, 0 has our lamp. So there's a lot of quirks to work out. But then after you go through all of those, your sixth step is just to loop through the thing again. And then the player would have some sort of interaction or like a set of things where they can go and select, like, out of 10 different rooms, select the faces that correspond to 10 different rooms. And then it would come through an item filter, much like our tool setup here, with just basic item filters funneled into the system where it can then be picked up and applied to the thing. One nice thing is if you use redstone P2P tunnels, you don't have to have the signal right there. You can have it from far away. So if we set you to higher and, oops, give you an actual card, 1, you can have the signal much further away and it just repeat that way. Because we're well over the 16 block transmit range. But yeah, it's going very slowly, painfully slow.